Black Africans and Black Caribbeans and Black Americans are different. Black Africans and Black Caribbeans are closer, almost identical. They have high, and I'm generalizing now, but generalization is pretty accurate. They have high self-esteem and lower levels of confidence. Black Americans have higher levels of confidence and lower levels of self-esteem.
All right, welcome back to my YouTube space. Grand Rising Kings and Queens from Africa and across the ocean. Welcome back to Kenyan Beast, your #1 platform for the unapologetic, unfiltered, and real black conversation. You know how we do it here. So don't forget to subscribe on my YouTube space. Turn on notification bell, like and share this video, and comment down there if you feel it's good for you. Now, family, today I'm diving into something deep, something serious. I'm diving into something that should concern each and every single black person across the planet. Now, there is this black American called John Hope Bryant on TikTok. I don't know if he's on YouTube, but he's a financial activist or financial something. Black professor, entrepreneur, and speaker. He made a statement that shocked the room. And I got shocked when first time I heard that video. You know, he said this, that Black Africans and Black Caribbeans and Black Americans, we are totally different. Generally, he said, Black Africans and Caribbeans have high self-esteem, but Black Americans have high confidence, but low self-esteem. He went ahead and said that 400 years of slavery didn't just break the bodies of Black Americans. It broke their spirit too. And that's the video I'm going to react on it. That statement alone is enough for us to pause and reflect. And now I know it's making some people uncomfortable, but the discomfort is where growth begins. So I will say this. Let's watch this video of this Black American man. His name is John Hope. And then after watching the video, we understand it and we come back here and break down. And you, on the comment section, do something when you hear that video or when you watch it. Comment down there what you think.
Black Africans and Black Caribbeans and Black Americans are different. Black Africans and Black Caribbeans are closer, almost identical. They have high, and I'm generalizing now, but generalization is pretty accurate. They have high self-esteem and lower levels of confidence. Black Americans have higher levels of confidence and lower levels of self-esteem. Because of slavery lasted here longer, it was turned into a business, and it was an intentional desire to destroy your spirit, because if they had this black man here, coming here with all that build and all that brawn from, by the way, they say they went to Africa, oh, we're dumb, we're stupid. Knock that off. 1500s was an agricultural age. The wealthiest gold in America, in the world, were cotton crops and sugar crops and tobacco crops, which are in areas which were very humid, very hot, and the soil was almost dead. Who could master dead soil? Africans. So they went halfway around the world to find the geniuses of the soil. They brought us halfway around the world because we could build wealth for them and income. But they didn't need this brother's attitude. They needed his body. So they separated from his family, so he had no hope. They abused his wife and held him down so he couldn't protect her until he gave up his self-esteem. Now he's just machinery. So now, 400 years later, we never healed. So if I don't like me, I'm not gonna like you. If I don't feel good about me, I'm not gonna feel good about you. If I don't respect me, don't expect me to respect you. If I don't love me, I don't have a clue how to love you. And here's the big one. If I don't have a purpose in my life, I'm gonna make your life a living hell. Whatever goes around, comes around. So we have high confidence, Jerome, because we've competed and succeeded against all odds in the biggest economy on the planet. So we have high confidence because we're competent, but we have low self-esteem, which is why you have crab in the barrel. It's why somebody's sitting there going, what is he talking about? My life? Why would anybody have anything with something positive to say right now? So if you got a problem with me, you need to check yourself. I don't even know you. So, as Quincy Jones once said, not 1 ounce of my self-esteem depends on your acceptance of me. So it's okay if you don't like me, I like me. Now, Black Africa, y'all, come on now, we having church in here. Now, black Africans and Caribbeans experienced slavery lower for a shorter period of time, and they experienced family structure and role modeling for a longer period of time. The mayor was black, the governor was black, the premier was black, the dentist was black, the barber was black, the thief was black. Everybody was black. Together families. So they have higher self-esteem, but they have lower confidence because they didn't succeed in the market economy. It makes perfect sense. So when that's why when black Africans or Caribbeans come here, within 2 or 3 years, they're killing it. Yet the Ethiopians in Washington, D.C., they're at the Park Hyatt, parking the cars. Within a couple of days, they've hired the buddies to be valets. Within a few weeks, they're also the taxi drivers. Within a couple months, they put the money in for an Uber car. Now they got a black car. Now they got 3 black cars. Now they live together. Now they have their entire staff at the front of the lobby. They have the valets. They got the taxi. They got the Ubers. They're willing to rent you an apartment if you want one. I mean, but that's because the hustle was the only ingredient that they missed, the opportunity. Black people, black Americans are the role models for the world. But we've got a little bit confused because we think that's enough. We're also depressed. I think that 70% of black Americans clinically undiagnosed depressed. And I can't prove that number. I love number. I can't prove that one. Whenever I talk to somebody, our people in a real conversation, can I get an amen? So when we're having a real conversation, we just have to heal so we can deal. Now, if we can heal, which is real wealth, and heal ourselves and love ourselves, now we can have a relationship. Now, in a relationship, it's the only time where it should be multiplication and not math. So if a relationship, if 2 + 2 does not equal 6, 8, or 10, what are you doing? If you're not better together, what are you doing? When you go to the club tonight, what's tonight? Tonight's Saturday. When you go to the club tonight, what's tonight? Right. Entrepreneurs, we work 18 hours, they keep getting a job. We work 18 hours and 6, and we have a nap for 3 hours, for 6 hours, that's it. So yeah, I don't know what day it is. You go to the club tonight, oh man, she's fine. Oh, he's so handsome. What's your name? Oh, what's your credit score? And I'm only partially joking. After the looks fall away and the body falls away, that's your business partner for life. 2 + 2 should equal 6, 8, or 10. If you're not better together, what are you doing? So this thing we're talking about is self-esteem is the entire ball game. If we can't fix this, we're done. No one else can hurt us, we'll hurt us. If we can fix this, I believe we will and we are. No one can stop us.
Welcome back. Now, you have heard the video, and the key points we are going to check on this is what is the difference between confidence and self-esteem? Why did slavery specifically break the black American spirit? How do Africans and Caribbeans compare, and what trauma do they carry? We are going to check on why does this conversation matter for the entire black world right now more than ever. And finally, we are going to look into how do we heal the broken self-esteem as a global black family. So, kings and queens, strap in. This is going to be a long but necessary conversation. Welcome back. Let's dive into this. Confidence is external. Self-esteem is internal. So, confidence is how you show up in the world with your swag, your presentation, your ability to stand on the stage, rock a microphone, make people pay attention to you. That is confidence. And I'm very sure black Americans got that. They got that. But when we talk about self-esteem, self-esteem is that quiet voice inside that says that I'm worthy of love, I deserve peace, I don't have to prove myself to anybody. Confidence can be loud, but self-esteem is silent. And here's the catch. You can have confidence and still hate yourself. So, you can be the loudest, oldest, baddest, most talented person in the room, and still when you are alone with your thoughts, You feel like you are not enough. You feel like you are losing it. And that is what John Hope is pointing out when he talks about Black Americans. Black American. So I don't want you to feel uncomfortable with this topic. We need to have this conversation. We really need to have this conversation. And I don't think Black Americans do not have self-esteem. I've seen the comment section on that video, and a lot of Black Americans are like, we agree, others, we don't agree. And that's why I decided, let me talk about this, because at the end of the day, when we spark this conversation, we'll come to a certain agreement of both of us. Now, let's say this. Black Americans, they are so much confident. According to John, they are so much confident, but deep down rooted love for self has been attacked systematically. And this is not about shaming Black Americans. I want to be clear on this, please, kindly. This is not about shaming Black Americans. This is about understanding generational trauma. I know I may face backlash with this kind of video, but please understand, we are not here to shame anybody. We are having conversation and to heal the nation. Imagine being born into a world where from the moment you take your first breath, everything around you tells you you are property. You don't deserve to read. You don't deserve here. You don't deserve a family. Your worth is based on how hard you work for something else. That's not just physical, just psychological. That's psychological welfare. For example, many African slaves in America were robbed of their native language. Language was stripped off. If you don't speak your ancestors' tongue, that's one layer of disconnection from your roots. Black Americans do not speak their mother tongue. They speak English. They were disconnected from the roots of Africa. They were disconnected from the Luya. They were disconnected from the Ashanti. So they were stripped their language. Their names were taken. Your last name isn't yours. It is the name of the slaveholder. Imagine the weight of carrying a name that represents the very family that exploited you. Here in Africa, we have names, and the last name always carry the name of the ancestors. For example, my last name is Osotsi. Osotsi is my ancestor's name. I have a lot of people, some people call it Njuguna Maina. It's the name that carries the generational. So, and this name, we are passing it to another kid, to another kid, to another kid. You will find in 2048, there is someone called Osotsi. In 3020, there will be someone called Osotsi. So, the Black Americans' names were taken, and they were given names of the slaveholder. Let's talk about family torn apart. During that time, wife was sold to one plantation, husband to another plantation, children to another. The entire idea of family was intentionally broken by design. It was a design to keep Black Americans apart. Spiritual demonized. Your African spiritual system was demonized. They called the African that you were the African spirit, they were calling it witchcraft, and by your oppressors. And forced conversation to Christianity as a tool of control. So that's why I say spirituality demonized. Okay, it was illegal to teach enslaved Black people to read and write. Why? Because an educated slave was a dangerous slave. And that's why right now, the Gen Zs are giving the white supremacy a big pressure because of what? Because they are so much educated. We are so much into history and everything. We know things. So it's not about a weakness, okay? It's not about weakness. We have something that we call demonization. Even after, the Black Americans were portrayed in media as criminals, as brutes, hypersexualized, lazy, and constant psychological attacks to keep them from loving themselves. And let's not forget the Jim Crow law, the segregation, lynchings, economic exclusion and mass incarceration, police brutality and poverty traps, all designed to kill the Black spirit slowly. Now tell me, how can a people go through all that generation after generation and not have some cracks in their self-esteem? It's not about weakness. It's about survival after intentional destruction. And Black Americans were distracted from the very, very first time they stepped their feet on America. It was not just about the body, spiritual too. Because for you to work as a slave, you need to be spiritually connected to your slave owner. And that's what they did. Now, even with all those, Black Americans are still producing. They're still producing the best of the best in the world, like music, jazz, blues, hip-hop, civil rights movement, revolutionary thinkers like Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey. Yeah, I know, Marcus Garvey is a Jamaican, but he worked with Black Americans. Assata Shakur, Angela Davis, and so many more revolutionary thinkers. And that's why I say Black Americans are not weak. They are survivors. You, as an African, If I take you to be a black American, you cannot survive even a single day walking without lifting your shoulder, because you know everyone is on you. Every eyes is on you as a black person. Now, John Hope, the video I've just showed you, he has said that Africans and Caribbeans generally have high self-esteem. That's what I want to look. Why is he saying so? I've done my research and I thought that for Africans, we kept the soil. He talked about that too. Even after colonization, many African countries kept their language, their connection to their land, and their historical lineage. And many Africans can trace their lineage back to specific tribes, to specific culture, to specific kings and warriors. That alone build a different kind of self-worth. But don't get it twisted. Africa still are dealing with trauma. Colonization fractured Africans. European powers forced artificial borders, breaking up ethnic groups, where something like tribalism is still used up to today to divide African nations and African people. You are in the same countries, but you are being divided with languages, with the tribes. Our leaders may still work for the interests, or they still work for the interests of the colonizer on the Western cooperation, not for the African people. So Africa is still dealing with this trauma. So Africans may have retained some self-esteem, but many of us have become addicted to European approval, and we think we need approval from Europe so that we can be the people. And for example, you may get Africans are bleaching themselves. Bleaching creams are selling in Africa is to show you, how things is going up. Why else are European suits considered professional while African wear is seen as traditional? Why don't we use our African wear as professional? When you go to work, to the interviews and everything, you go with your Masai kitenge, you go with your traditional clothes. Why should we not do that? It's a different type of psychological colonization. It's a brainwashed mind. For Caribbeans, they went through plantation just like black Americans, but many revolted. For example, Haiti fought for its freedom and won. And Caribbean culture kept African rhythm alive in music, dance, and spiritually. But they face the issues too. They face like poverty, legacies, from colonization, like colorism. The lighter you are in Caribbean, the more privileged you are. We have economic dependence on former colonial masters. So while Africans and Caribbeans may have more visible self-esteem, they also got cracks in their armor. And the point is this: we are all carrying different wounds as black people. That's my point. So why is that black Americans have confidence but often lack self-esteem? For me, I'll say it is survival. In America, you don't project strength. You get crushed. And that's why you see black Americans dominate in entertainment, sports, fashion trends, and etc., etc. Because when the world tells you you are nothing, you overcompensate by showing out. But sometimes that becomes performance instead of true healing. That's what I get. So if you ever seen someone rich, powerful, famous, but behind closed door they are depressed? I have seen a lot. Someone has big cars, but sitting in that car is just depressed, feeling angry. He has anger issues. The rich people. And that's what happens when confidence is a mask hiding low self-esteem. Not that. I don't say that to attack. I say that to call for healing. According to the video that I'm reacting, some of you might be wondering, why does this matter? Why bring up this painful history? It is painful even to me. When I go through the history of black Americans, when I go through the history of colonization of Africans, when I go through the history of plantation of Caribbeans, it is so painful. It is so painful. And this matters a lot. And why I bring up this painful history is because broken people cannot build free nation. You can't unite black people globally if Africans are calling black Americans lazy. You can't unite black people if black Americans are calling Africans backward. You can't unite black people if Caribbeans are calling both stupid. That's what white supremacy wants. Divide and conquer has always been the plan from day one. And while we are busy fighting each other, guess what's happening? European corporations are mining African resources. Western media is stealing black Americans' culture. Caribbean economies are still controlled by colonial money. It is a distraction, family. It is time we wake up to end this distraction. We are seeing it in front of our eyes, but we fail to speak, because if we speak, a black American somewhere will say, "You are not us. Why are you talking about me?" African somewhere will say, you are not like us. We are the original. Caribbean will say, we got everything. I always believe in these 5 keys. Teach true black history. Not starting with slavery. Teach about the empires of Africa. Timbuktu, ancient Egypt, about the Moors, teach about African origins of civilization. Knowledge of self builds self-esteem. Knowledge of self builds self-esteem. Another key that I always believe is control your own narrative. As black people, we have to control our own narrative. We need black-owned media, black filmmakers, black authors. We have to stop depending on Hollywood to tell our stories. Stories ours, but the one who is getting the Oscar awards is a white narrator. We need to control our own story. We need to tell our own story. Remember, not starting with slavery. Practice economic power. That's another key, I believe. Black dollar must circulate within black communities before leaving somewhere else. You know, wealth builds independence, as always. Independence builds confidence. And we need to be independent as black people. Let's liberate ourselves. The only way is to practice economic power, is to control our own narratives, to teach true black history, Pan-African relationship. Let's stop fighting each other. Black Americans should be traveling to Africa. Africans should be visiting the Caribbean. Let's visit the conferences, the summits, the youth exchange, build connection between black people. That's the key for us to unite and to have success. We need to heal generational trauma through therapy, community counseling, African spirituality, and embracing our true roles or true roots, not the Western lies we have been fed. We need to have spiritual healing as black people. And I will say this, my black Americans, I know exactly, or you know that you were never meant to survive, but you did survive. Not because you are broken, but because you are strong. Your confidence is not fake. It's a sign that you refused to die under oppression. But now it's time to go deeper. It is time for self-love. Let's love ourselves. And I am so happy. I love the current black Americans. They love themselves more. They don't engage themselves in unnecessary protest. They just don't show up where they're not loved. It's calling self-love. Love yourself beyond the struggle, beyond the performance. You deserve peace as black American. You deserve softness. You deserve wholeness. To my African brothers, stop looking at black Americans with judgment. Learn their story. Empathize with their pain. They didn't choose to be born in America. Their ancestors were stolen. So respect that pain of black American. Let's not judge them. And also stop idolizing Europe as African. Start loving your African identity the way it deserves. You don't need to get rich when you go to Europe. You can get rich here from Africa. You don't need to use the Balenciaga to feel like you are so rich. You can use local attire. You don't need to use foreign suits and foreign watches. You can use the local ones. Let's learn to love our own African continent. Let's stop idolizing Europe. To my Caribbean brothers, continue carrying the rebellious spirit. Don't let neo-colonial systems rob you of your birthright. Teach your children African pride beyond the plantation narrative. And this message going to my all black people everywhere. We are stronger together, and we need African resources. We need Caribbean resistance, and we need black American creativity linked like a fist. When we work together, just imagine what will happen. When you work together as black people, we are going to shift mountains. We are going to shift the flow of the rivers. We are going to bring the sun down. Black Americans are so creative. Caribbeans, they have rebellious spirit, resistance spirit. African has the resources. When we combine this, wow, it's wow. You know, when we unite, it's game over for the global white power. We will be the superpower. So let's build a family. Let's talk. Let's have conversations between ourselves. Drop your thoughts on the comment section. You know, tell me, where are you watching from? In Africa, in America, or Caribbean? Tell me, what do you think about the message from John Bryant or Bryant statement? I want to hear from you. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and share this message with someone who needs to hear it, or someone you think needs to hear this message. We are family, one future, one destiny. As I always say, this is not just a movement. This is a revolution. Until next episode, peace out.